What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character. As we do every single week, we talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined as always on Good Friday by Mr. Seán Mean, the good man himself.
Hello. There's one good man on Good Friday, from what I hear. And if that's me, so be it.
All the stuff that happened on Good Friday, they went, this is good. This is a good one.
Fucking Good Friday, boys. I will say, I've actually had a great Friday, Conor.
Have you?
Because sun is shining. I went out, had Eddie Rockets for lunch with my girl. And we went to the local
best gal
diner.
In my hot rod.
They have the jukeboxes on the walls. It's great. Went to the soda fountain. Other such things. Went Easter egg shopping. We're doing Easter eggs for the family this year. And now I get to chat comic books with my best pal. So
look, here's the thing, right? Because it's Hero Zero, it's a pretty big week, because we would always do the thing that we would match the hero or zero of the episode to whatever was going on in the world. So around Christmas time, we do some sort of Santa-based thing, or then maybe around, I don't know, if I had to pick a day, St. Patrick's Day, we would ideally do some other Irish character, unless you're Sean 3 weeks ago, who didn't do an Irish character and instead chose Shrunken Bones and a man who is an ape but also a man.
Look, there's nothing to say that Shrunken Bones wasn't an Irish patron saint or something like that.
He was probably from like some Irish county somewhere.
Louth. He's from Louth, I'd say.
They're all from Louth.
Yeah. Smallest county, just like his bones.
What about the ape man?
Fermoy? I don't know.
Probably Fermoy.
Probably Fermoy. Fucking just a dig at Fermoy for no reason.
Fuck you, Fermoy. That is actually a real place. Look it up if you're not from here.
It's a lovely spot. Really nice people.
No, Sean thinks it's full of fucking people that are terrible. That's what he told me.
That's off mic, but you decided to bring it live on
mic. So look, what I was going to say was, because obviously we're two Christian boys, so I felt like it was, we grew up in Christian Ireland, Sean. I'm not saying we're Christian boys now, but I'm saying, like, we grew up around nuns.
There's no option. There's no other option, really. There
was no real choice. It was either you were in or you were out, and everyone was in. It wasn't really.
You want to get a bouncy castle for your communion, like.
Everyone wants a big day out at the communion.
Great for the family.
So what I decided to do was to reflect the events that have been going on. I thought it would be good if we covered a character called Thunder Bunny, Sean. Yes, that is correct. Thunder Bunny.
Interesting. Very okay, like a Duracell bunny kind of situation is what I'm imagining.
Well, not really. So I'm going to kind of break the rules here, because you would normally do Marvel characters. I'd already talk DC characters. Sean, Thunder Bunny does not belong to either of those people, and instead was around Charlton Comics in the 70s.
Charlton Comics is where Captain Marvel, the DC one, came from, is that right?
Yes, technically, I think.
So it was eventually acquired, so DC could probably use this rabbit if they wanted.
Never again, right? So Thunder Bunny is one of those characters. There's not a lot on him, but I think the story of Thunder Bunny is it's just really weird, and it's... Where I wanted to start with it's quite hard to capture like how much of a game changer the direct market was for the comic book industry. So in the early days of comic books were sold on newsstands, like magazines and stuff like that. And that set up, it basically kind of caused the major problems that made was that for anyone who wanted to produce an independent comic book series, first you basically had to have the money to print enough copies to be able to get the copies in the stores, and then take back what it was left. Second, you'd have to be able to get newsstand owners to give you a piece of their precious rack space to display your independent comic.
That's so fucking wild now, looking back.
And third, and probably most importantly, you would have to accept returns of unsold copies. So, like, you would lose money if you didn't sell all of the copies that you gave out.
And you would just have these now basically unsellable comics just sitting around the place.
Exactly. It was very difficult to make money selling comics, let alone for an independent comic book creator now.
Yeah, like Marvel went bankrupt like 6 times.
But then what changed was the direct market came in, and the direct market solved all 3 of these problems. Now you only had to print as many copies as were ordered. So you actually never had any left over because people would order how many they wanted first of all.
The supply was exactly the same as the demand, basically.
Exactly. And so, and since there were now all of these comic book specialty stores, rack space was less of a concern. So less of a concern because there's more of them. So now a small print run of an independent comic book could still make money. An example of this, I was trying to think of what to try and put this into context, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They started off like selling 1,000 issues the first time around, and then they sold like 10,000. Second, like a small weird idea that 2 guys just created that just takes off.
Yeah, got legs and spread through word of mouth, and then the next order was a lot bigger.
Yeah, and so there was a big boom at this point in independent comic books, which allowed a number of fascinating comic books that might have been too niche to work for a mainstream publisher. So this is in the 70s, I would say, right? Or in the 60s, 70s. However, the availability of this large market suddenly also led to shit tons of independent comic publishers and comic books just all being put out at once, because then there was just an influx of everybody who's ever had an idea now has a comic book.
It's now the easiest and most accessible way to make a comic is just put it out, see what happens. And
so a number of classic comics had trouble getting beyond the cult classic stage, and one of these comics was Thunder Bunny.
Thunder Bunny is hero, villain, like what's
hero? Now, only has the origin, so I don't actually have any stories he's involved in, only the origin, but just the idea of his creation was what interested me, and also it's a bunny.
Yeah, and the fact that someone had all of like imagination and pop culture at their disposal at the time when it was the easiest to ever self-publish a comic. And they came up with Thunder Bunny. Also,
I was going to do White Rabbit from DC, from the latest DC comics. She's a villain in the Batman world who is 2 identities, but she can split her identity in 2. But one of them is just a really scantily clad woman who's blonde, and the other one is a brunette woman.
How clothed is the brunette woman?
And the brunette normally clothed, I would say. And that's how you know they're not the same.
She grows clothes.
But the brunette woman is dating Bruce Wayne for a small period, and then the blonde woman's doing like crimes. It's like, well, that can't be me because I obviously look like this.
Well, yeah, and wigs.
Look, it's a whole thing, right? It's weird, and I didn't want to touch on it, so I thought it'd be more funny to cover a real shit character. So Martin Grime was the creator of the well-respected fanzine. This is a magazine created by fans. The Comic Crusader in the late 1960s, and he created some superhero characters of his own. And one of them, one of his main ones that he created was Thunder Bunny, and that was. It made its debut in Special Comic Crusader Storybook in 1977. So Thunder Bunny is created mid-70s, and he's like, this is the greatest idea of all time.
We're taking down Superman with this character.
With Thunder Bunny. If it'll help, you can look up an image of Thunder Bunny.
Permission to look up an image.
What you think it looks like.
Thunder
Think of Bunny. Worse. Whatever you're thinking, go 3 steps worse.
Oh, wait. Oh, Jesus.
the next Superman, Sean. This is the next big idea.
Awful. This looks so bad.
A few years later...
It looks like a cereal box cover.
How dare you? Come on now. Right? A few years later, so...
Why is he jacked?
At this point, Martin Graham, he's doing his own fancy. And a few years later, Charlton Comics, which is basically like... It was like DC, Marvel, Charlton Comics. They were all around the same time. There was comic books the comic book companies for all sorts. Yeah. Charlton Comics opened itself to submissions from fans, Sean. Wait till you hear this. Charlton Comics basically said that fans could submit their own superheroes and
give us your ideas.
Yeah, basically, right? With the creators allowed to retain rights to their own creations.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
that would never happen now.
Oh, never in a million years. Charlton Comics was dying at this point, right?
Right.
And so they said, as a last-ditch effort, everyone just send in all your superhero ideas, and if it's good, we'll make it. You can write it and draw it, and you get all the rights, but we can put it under the Charlton Comics name. That is how desperate they were at this point.
Interesting. I mean, so it's just a last-ditch effort to be like, maybe one of these ideas will pull the entire company out.
Exactly. They were hoping like a Batman would pop up from some random people.
But at this point in like the 70s, like
everything's been done.
Everything's been done. Every hero that is created is just a version of what has come before.
Exactly. Including Thunder Buddy, when you hear what his story is.
Oh, no.
But Thunder Buddy was then brought into Charlton Comics. Martin Graham put him forward. They said, that's a fucking fantastic idea. You should write an issue for Thunder Buddy.
I think more likely they said, why not?
We're losing money by the fucking massive load, right? So in 1980, I'm going to tell you the story now of Thunder Buddy, Sean. It's 1980. Bobby is vacationing. Bobby's a young man. He's about, I think it's Bobby Roswell, I think it might be his name.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive it's Roswell. Anyway, so Bobby's vacationing with his family in Rutland, Vermont, right? With his uncle and his aunt. And Bobby's, I don't know, maybe like 12 or 13. And he rises early one morning to read some comic book, Sean, because he's just like us.
He's just like one of the people.
He's just one of the people, is Bobby. He glances outside and he sees a light on the nearby mountaintop. He's like, it's a light in the nearby mountaintop. I don't know if he says that, but that's what he's thinking, right?
That's what he's
and
thinking.
He's like, first logical thing, gotta go check it out with my bicycle. Of course.
Oh, he's got transport. He's got this whole thing nailed down, guys.
He's got go faster flames on the side, I only assume.
He's got a little playing card in the spokes, so it makes a noise what light sounds like an engine.
That slows him down terribly.
Oh, it restricts his movement so much.
So he bicycles over, and Sean, he finds a spaceship whose sole occupant is a humanoid dog named Dr. Barco.
Jesus Christ. Why does the dog, who's an alien man, have a human pun for a name? Yeah.
Why does it have a doctorate? And then a human pun for its name.
I don't think that man's been to medical school.
I know. And why do they have a doctorate on the other planet? Surely there'd be something else, like some sort of other title.
Yeah. Like there'd be some. Yeah, their whole culture would be different.
It'd be a different culture. They wouldn't be exposed to the same media that we've been exposed to. So where did they come up with words? Would they have come from Latin? Would Latin have existed there? We don't know.
Latin. Could be
Space Latin, of course. This is the Easter episode, just to let everyone know.
Yeah,
Space Latin.
Easter and Latin go hand in hand, Conor.
Hand in hand. So the sole occupant is a humanoid dog named Dr. Barco, and he explains his world is full of
anthropomorphic.
Thank you. Animals, right? Which basically just means humanoid animals, that they all look like humans, but they're all animals. Let's not get into it.
They're animals, but they walk on two legs and stuff. BoJack Horseman and that kind of thing.
Basically. And the animal, the planet is dying due to an axial shift. Right?
So it's rotating a different way now.
It's gone the opposite. It's gone Australia. right?
Oh my God.
So not even their great hero Thunder Buddy could avert the catastrophe on the planet, Sean, okay?
So our first intro to Thunder Bunny is some fucking dog telling us about him.
Shit. Couldn't stop it. Right. So Dr. Barco, as a last-ditch effort, he decided that he would, instead of letting the noble rabbit perish with the rest of them, Dr. Barco transferred the hero's energy force into a power box and then set off into space to try and get away to find a nearby planet to land on.
To get help or to, like, take over?
To transfer the powers of Thunder Bunny from the humanoid anthropomorphic.
Yeah, you got it. You know what this reminds me of, Connor? Is a little 2011 film called Green Lantern. Okay, let me tell you.
Does that remind you of our Patreon review that we did like last week?
Every day it reminds me of the Patreon review.
And over on the Patreon.
On the patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast.
Oh, it's interesting. And you get access to loads of different reviews.
Loads of different reviews. $5 a month. You support the show. You get good times. You get invited to all the hangouts. All of that kind of stuff. It's Easter, lads.
The extra stuff. We're the worst. However, rather than let, obviously, the noble rabbit perish, he brings Thunder Bunny's essence, spirit, powers with him in a powerful magic box.
Okay. So Thunder Bunny is like a mantle then that's passed down.
Thunder Bunny, I suppose he's taken Thunder Bunny's soul, if you want to look at it in an evil way.
Yeah. And did Thunder Bunny, he gave the okay on this? Or
we don't know, but I can only assume no, he was dragged near to his death, beaten to a pulp, and then maybe against his own will had his soul taken. Now I'm just filling in the gaps here.
And I think you're filling them in quite accurately. I just like it's a trauma. Like, is someone just going to turn into a big bunny then?
Thunder Bunny's family were looking for him. They sent body parts of Thunder Bunny back and said, we do have him. Now we
because what happens to the body? Because if the soul is gone and the energy and the essence and all that,
there's no need for the body. So they just sliced them up.
Of a body. They vivisected him on Easter.
They ate him. Yeah, that's and now look, once again, not written by poor old Martin in his independent comic that he pitched, but obviously we're filling in gaps here.
You know how every so often there's a shit character and then a good writer comes back like 50 years later and makes them class?
Grant Morrison.
I challenge you, Mr. Morrison, to take a look at Thunder Bunny.
You haven't heard of Thunder Bunny. What happens is Bobby, he touches the box, Sean, and he acquires the power to become Thunder Bunny. In order to do this, he just needs to imagine his alter ego and clap his hands, and then he becomes the super rabbit. He repeats the process to turn back to normal. Now, in Thunder Bunny form, he has the big 3 superpowers. He's invulnerable. He has super strength, and he can fly.
Wow. Sounds like Superman but a bunny, basically.
Bobby was a comic book fan and took an attitude that's common among comics fans at the time, Sean, in that he found the superhero aspects of his new self loads of fun. But he was embarrassed by the fact that he was a funny animal when he had powers, so he was a bit, self-conscious about turning into Super Bunny, Thunder Bunny.
Thunder Bunny, yeah, that's an interesting character thing. It's like you get all the powers of Shazam, but you look like you look like a donkey when you turn. Oh, it gets
Shazam. Actually. You have another very interesting thing that they never did anything with straight after, and that is it gets worse as the more time he spends in his Thunder Bunny state, it becomes harder for him to visualize his normal self and change back. Thus, Thunder Bunny action, although it is fun, basically meant that he'd be stuck that way for good one day, because the more he changes, the harder it is to change back.
See, that's really good. And it's like a sacrifice then whenever he does heroic. There's a character in Invincible called Monster Girl, and every time she turns into the monster form, when she turns back to human, she's younger. So she's aging in reverse. And so now she's like this. She has the body of a 9-year-old, but she can just transform into like this huge massive monster. But like she has a set number of times that she can ever do this.
I look, these characters, there are tropes, but they're fucking great. I love a character that's like, you get all these powers, but it nearly kills you, and like you're slowly dying every time you change.
Like Jane Foster's Thor takes all the chemo out of her body, and so she's dying of cancer. Like,
yes,
it makes the heroics more of a like sacrifice. And it shows how good they are.
Or, I mean, this is probably the reference you're thinking of. Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Of course.
The White Ranger
Rescue
had a tattoo of a dragon on his back that the bad people put, right?
Rad.
And every time he morphed, he slowly died somehow. I don't know how the tattoo would move further up his back to his brain.
Oh my god, that's so cool. I found my favourite Power Rangers, Conor.
Yes! Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Start moving that one we can watch for the Patreon, of course.
The reason why I know that is because my old VHS video store used to sell that one like double episode bill in a VHS, and I rented that shit out, boys. I
bet you did.
I went from Mighty Morphin, and they just had that 1 week, and I was just like, I'll take that. Thanks very much. I'll have that. Bobby returns to Boston, and he's well equipped to fight crime, being invulnerable to bullets, able to fly, and possessing super strength. There is just one catch, as the longer he remains Thunder Bunny, the more difficult it becomes to become Bobby again.
Right.
So, this is where the story ends, Sean. That is his origin.
That's all we need. That's all you
Martin
need to know.
came up with it.
We've put all the pieces in place. Yeah. And you figure it out yourself.
Charlton Comics, you can do with that what you want, right? So obviously, Martin Graham, he was playing with a number of tropes. First and foremost, of course, the standard Captain Marvel concept of Billy Batson switching places with superpowered man. So there's even Thunder in Thunder Bunny's name, which, I mean, what's on Captain Marvel's chest? Or Shazam's chest, I should say.
A lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. They're different. However, there's also the funny animal aspect of having this powerful alien be a talking bunny whose design was very much in the classic style of like the classic funny animals of the comic books, like Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
So he basically combined those two tropes into his one hero. However, after one more appearance in Charlton's Bullseye number 10, it was basically cancelled immediately. The money from the sales of the comic books did not go very well, and Charlton Comic Books was basically losing money by the truckload at this point. And they told them, sorry, we can no longer print these stories.
Right. So is this owned by anyone now at this point, or is Thunder Bunny?
Hang on. So Archie Comics, they basically did, as a last-ditch effort, they were going to have a superhero line of comics called Red Circle Comics, with the Mighty Crusaders characters being the main draw. Do you know who the Mighty Crusaders are? You don't. What a draw. Right?
Never heard of them. Never heard of them, in fact. Sounds like the Avengers, but shit.
That's basically... so Graham brought the character to this story, and they basically did Thunder Bunny number 1. He had his own comic book series. It came out in 1984. They had one issue, and then, although after the one issue, his idea was that the second issue of Thunder Bunny was going to be the one where he meets and remember, the Mighty Crusaders. They're the big draw. So he's thinking, second issue, Thunder Bunny, big team up. We've had 2 issues. Big team up. Right?
Slap him in.
It's basically like the Batman versus Superman. We don't need any pretense. Just like have the big team up. Don't have any build up. Don't have any story. Just he pops up.
Don't develop any characters. None of that.
It's fine.
People like team up movies.
And so his next story was for the issue number 2, aliens were going to come to Earth, Mighty Crusaders were going to try and help, and Thunder Bunny would show up, and they'd all work together and defeat the aliens, and everybody would be happy. However, Archie Comics did not know whether they wanted to do another Thunder Bunny, and told them they wanted to make it more family friendly. They wanted to have a light-hearted, less serious version of the character. And so Martin says, I don't really want to do a less serious version. I think this is a good idea. They said, how we get the kids involved? We've got a buddy who's just kind of, I don't know, stopping very minor crimes. Their idea was that Bobby Caswell would be roaming around. This is their idea that they gave Martin, that Bobby Caswell would be roaming around. He'd see a kid with a lemonade store. Some other people are trying to bully him, so he turns into Thunder Buddy and he chases the bullies away, and then he buys some lemonade, and that's the end of the story.
That's like a Dennis the Menace storyline.
Yeah, that's what they wanted.
They just want, just the safest child friend. Like, he's way cooler if he looks like that, but he fights horrible crime. He's tracking down murderers and shit, but he has the head of a bunny rabbit.
So there was a big debate between Martin and his artist, and they were like, do you want to do this? Because obviously we get to keep being paid, but at the same time, it's a real shit idea that I think we'll probably give up on. Martin initially agreed to it. His artist said, are you sure? He said, no, it's fucking garbage. I really don't want to do it. And then the two of them said, okay, fuck you. Archie Comics, we're not doing it anymore.
His artist, though, is presumably like, I'm a good artist. I will get other work.
Now, Archie Comics did actually publish the second issue, eventually. But it didn't happen in Thunder Buddy number 2. I think it was like an add-on to like some other comic. Like, I think it was called Blue Ribbon Comics. They just like threw it at the end. Thunder Buddy teams up with the Mighty Crusaders. Thunder Buddy finished.
Just the end. We never hear from him again.
Archie abandoned superheroes again. And Thunder Buddy's next publisher, he went to Warp Graphics, which was basically self-publishing. And their first issue came out in 1985. It was Thunder Buddy's first appearance in black and white, and the first 2 issues were published magazine-sized. Then he went to Apple Press's last issue, and then he finished off in Warp Graphics Annual 1988, just making one final appearance. Thunder Buddy was not picked up by any other publisher, so that was the end of him. He never did get stuck that way permanently, because they only ever got one story.
It's kind of heartbreaking how long he just kept limping along, this character.
7 years.
7 years. Just... no one wants him. He's not good, but he keeps being just shopped around to various production houses.
You know what? We've covered a lot of shit characters in DC and Marvel. I'm very surprised they didn't buy this idea up, because I mean, it is cliche, it is dumb, but it's better than some of the shit that we've talked about here.
Oh, 100%. And like, I'm really surprised that like DC didn't buy it out as like, let's have a character for the Easter issue of Superman or whatever like that, and just like have him technically exist in the universe, but he doesn't have his own, like, there's no reason he needs a comic all on his own, you know.
But he's slowly changing, Sean. That's the draw.
That's why you bring him in, you have him in a few Easter things, then you give him a little mini run after maybe 2 or 3 years, being like, here's Thunder Bunny's deal, you know?
Yeah.
And it's this tragic backstory that you write in after the fact.
And like, it was all set up. The problem was he just joined Charlton Comics at their like dying days. Like, they didn't have any clue. They didn't have an idea. It basically, like, he was coming up and he joined the absolute worst team, like the worst sports team ever, and they were like going bankrupt.
It's like he like his plane was crashing and he parachuted out and he landed on the Titanic.
Yes. Oh fuck.
Oh dear.
My big break. Why are they carrying out those filing cabinets?
But look, it's dumb, but I prefer a character like this who failed because of like everything going wrong, rather than, you know, the terrible DC and Marvel characters that we talk about who are just terrible.
And you know what? I like Martin. Martin tried his hardest to get Thunder Bunny off the ground. And even when they were like, we want to make him simple, he was like, no, fuck you. Yeah. I don't want to do that. This is a good idea.
It's not what Thunder Bunny's about.
Also, I think he knew, like, he was like, you're going under anyway. And if I change him and we go bankrupt, then he's ruined forever. Whereas I suppose in that, like, I can see his logic that, like, if I don't change him, maybe somebody will take the chance and pick him up. But the minute I take away everything and just make him like a child's, like, magazine hero, then he's done. Like, nobody's going to touch him.
He just becomes like superpowered Garfield at that point. Where it's just like, he's just there for light entertainment. You can't actually tell a story. And
I wanted to cover Thunder Bunny because, of course, the weekend it's in it, we all get chocolate eggs on Sunday,
Indeed,
I think.
do.
Pretty positive. What egg have you gotten?
So we did egg shopping for Orla's family because we're going up to them for Easter. Got a Bailey's egg for the grown-ups. And then for her brother, got it's like a Kit Kat egg, right? You're going to love this. Kit Kat chunky egg, 2 Kit Kat bars, half and half white chocolate and regular chocolate on the egg.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Best of both worlds.
See, you say that you know you're going to like that, but you know that I don't really like chocolate.
I know, that's the thing, so I'll get you like a few jellies maybe.
I actually don't have an egg.
You know, like, I didn't buy, we're not doing eggs because, like, there'll be enough fucking chocolate around. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I'm getting old, Connor, because I used to be a demon for chocolate, as you well know.
I do know that. Getting
too sweet for me these days, you know. Give me a sausage roll or something.
Give me a bag of chips.
Bag of chips, salt and vinegar. That's what I'd rather now to unwrap on Easter morning. Or Christmas morning even. I more, give me a jelly bean egg. Is there some sort of massive giant jelly bean egg that I could have? I saw a man on TikTok who made, he took Heinz beans, but he just made one big bean that fits in the can. So if we could do something like that for a jelly bean.
A massive wine gum egg.
Wine gum, it'd be have it on like a cake stand and you have to cut into it.
You got that right. I think you're just making a gigantic piece of jelly, but I think it would have to be more solid. It'd have to be wine gum.
What you want to do, like 2 packs of gelatin for the one amount of water, and then it's like this really tough thing. You pour a load of vodka into it, then you get tore.
Get fucking shit-faced.
Looks what they would have wanted. They being the apostles.
I think that's it for this report of Thunder Bunny, Seán.
Connor, I genuinely enjoyed learning about Thunder Bunny today.
I felt like I had no origin, so I thought it'd be more interesting in talking about the whole idea behind the creation and what was going on in comic books at the time in terms of independent comic books. That's like,
sometimes that's more interesting as well, like to just hear the process of how it was made. Like that TV show, How It's Made. Would you like me to
that TV show, Power Rangers, Lightspeed Rescue.
Like that TV show, Prison Break.
He had all those tattoos.
Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, Friday with another Hero or Zero, and over on the Patreon we will be putting up more and more content over there. Big shout outs to everyone who does support us over on Patreon. Really couldn't do the show without you all. Hope you all have a good time and enjoy things like the Green Lantern review that we put up. Link to that is in the description. Also is the merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is at Heroes for Hire Pod. The 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I've been Michaela Doughty.
I've been Seán.
We shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.